Hello and welcome to Network. My name is Spumelele Zondi. Now today we'll tell you what some analysts say about social media after war room allegations. We visit an organization that uses drones to track sharks in South Africa. We also find out about why startups are complaining about internet costs and speeds in South Africa. Cameroon shut down the internet in English-speaking regions recently. Our discussion is about that and other regions that limit internet access and social media. Find us on SABC Network, that's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Use Network at sabc.co.za on email. Let's start with your technology and social media news. Now, when starting a business, many struggle to find the right affordable internet package. You'd find that you get a cheap one, then your internet is likely to be slow. Some say internet providers seldom consider startups when creating their packages. When Rob van der Bracht and his wife Nosipo started their animation studio Chocolate Tribe, they had to find the right internet provider for the business. But it was a struggle.
It's been quite a search. Although it looks like there's a lot of offering, it actually isn't. A lot of the offering is not always available in every building, so you always have to go through the process of, are you able to get it in this particular building? We got initially an offer for the building, and then we were told that it's actually no longer available for businesses. It went consumer only. And then we went back to another company, and there was a lot of waiting involved and a lot of uncertainty. The prices were quite steep, so we struggled to actually find a package that's compatible with a startup company especially. Some of the packages ranging, going to thousands of rands, like tens of thousands sometimes.
Often people get the wrong internet package that costs a lot when the speeds are too slow for what they need.
A lot of the guys are still in the space of capped internet packages. So you're finding you got a technology like LTE, which is phenomenal. High speed, works really well. But I was chatting to a customer yesterday. They're a business of 5 people. They're using 30 gigs a day. The cost to run that's just not sustainable.
And in 2017, businesses shouldn't even think of operating without internet access.
If you're not connected to the internet already, your business is going backwards. The need for connectivity is a necessity these days.
After searching for internet packages and finding that they can't afford them or they just don't respond to their needs, many startups end up in free Wi-Fi areas like cafes. The IT corner in Melville often finds itself busy as entrepreneurs are taking advantage of its free Wi-Fi. Rob and the Chocolate Tribe believe that all internet providers are expensive and that could stop the international community from doing business with South African businesses.
I think the moment you say I'm a business, they change the price to, what they deem to be, worth it for the supplier. And I think the difference from consumer to business is quite a big difference when you look at prices, even though the package sometimes for a young business doesn't have to be any different from a consumer sort of home package.
And if internet costs don't go down, a lot of people who think of starting their own businesses might change their minds. Cape Town's coastline is a popular spot during the warm summer months for surfers and sunbathers. It's also one of the main habitats of the great white shark. To avoid any shark attacks in South Africa, and there are now spotters who are using drones to monitor them.
Between September months and late April or early May, we expect to see sharks at any time of the day. Like during that period, this is the time where most of yellowtail, like fish and most prey would actually be on the inshore, and that's what sharks will be after.
South Africa's shark spotters are using drone technology to track shark activity along the False Bay coastline. This coastline is home to many of the world's great white sharks. Spotting the sharks helps in gathering data about the species' behavior and also to keep bathers and surfers safe from the predator.
We're now incorporating drone technology into our spotting. We're using them to enhance our ability to identify sharks and identify potentially dangerous sharks.
Drone operators work together with field shark spotters perched high up on cliffs overlooking the ocean, using binoculars to monitor the water all day. If there is a threat, the warning sirens will ring and the flags will go up, indicating that swimmers and surfers should leave the water immediately. At the same time, the drones are called in.
Personally, with the alarm that goes off, that's the number one safety. Having the alarm gives me a little bit of comfort to know that there's a communication that's possible.
Cape Town has experienced various shark attacks and several warning measures are already in place. Shark spotters' drone technology is expected to reduce the risk even further.
In South Africa, some have called for tighter scrutiny of information on social media. This is after the increasing number of fake news and fake websites. It's also after the African National Congress has been accused of paying people to tweet negative information about opposition parties leading up to the 2016 local government elections. Motlenyane Dipoko has this story for us.
The governing party dragged to court for allegedly failing to pay a service provider. The business person has claimed in court papers that he was part of the covert ANC election campaign known as War Room. The operation was funded to discredit opposition DA and EFF ahead of the 2016 local government elections. ANC stalwart's grandson, Shaka Sisulu, implicated in the saga, has refuted the claims. In a statement, Sisulu says though he volunteered to assist the ANC campaigns, he did not take part in the covert operation to discredit opposition parties. He claims he's unable to run a secret operation involving 50 million rand. ANC Secretary General Gwede Mantache dismissed the matter as a business deal between the party's general manager and a service provider. However, he says a policy is needed to regulate the social media.
We are busy with our communication department to develop a social media policy that will regulate that space. Here, a general manager of the ANC is implicated. We are dealing with that matter.
An analyst echoes the sentiments. He says the recent allegations of fake social posts to influence a political cause strengthens calls for controls.
I think it should be regulated, certainly in the sense that, if you defame somebody on social media, if I make an allegation about you which is not true, you can sue me. But what law prevents somebody at the moment from using technology to invent a whole lot of fake South Africans who have a particular point of view and put them on social media? At the moment, we're told that this happens, but we're also told, as far as I know, that there's no law to stop it.
Meanwhile, the IEC says should circumstances require it to take any action on the allegations of war room campaigns, it will not hesitate to discharge its duties and obligations.
The third man to walk on the moon has passed away. Alibaba's payment system Alipay has launched an AR red envelope. These are some of the top stories that made tech headlines in the last week.
Online payment platform Alipay has launched augmented reality red envelopes. Red envelopes are known as Hongbao in Chinese and are traditionally filled with money. Parents and grandparents give them to their children on the Chinese New Year. Nowadays, the custom has largely been replaced with online equivalents using Alipay and WeChat Pay. This augmented reality game allows users to hunt and snatch red envelopes.
Users can tap on the screen for a clue. The envelopes are usually hidden within an object. The app uses location-based services, and you can only plant envelopes within 500 kilometers of where you're standing.
A Japanese cargo vehicle loaded with garbage departed the International Space Station 6 weeks after it delivered 4,100 kg of supplies and equipment of experiments, according to NASA. The cargo vehicle arrived at the station on 13 December, loaded with spare parts, water, lithium-ion batteries, and other items of Station 6 person crew. In December, crew members conducted 2 spacewalks to install the new batteries as part of an upgrade to the station's electrical. Heading over to USA, Gene Cannon, third man to have ever walked on the moon, has passed away.
There are no small people in this program. There are no small people on Apollo 17. Doesn't make any difference whether you swept out the White Room or whether you passed coffee in MCC or whether you kept the sharks away during recovery. Everybody on this flight was a big man. There are no little guys. And if I can borrow just a quick phrase or a quick word that I read yesterday that our president used in terms of words of Sir Isaac Newton, we stood on the shoulders of giants.
Cannon became the third person following a Russian cosmonaut and US astronaut Ed White to make a spacewalk on the Gemini mission. On the day before returning to the command module, Cannon drove the rover to a point away from the lunar module so that the camera on the vehicle could film their departure. The size 10.5 boot prints that Canon made on his walk back to the module afterward marked the last steps man has taken on the moon.
It is the SABC Network on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News network at sabc.co.za and email. After the break, we chat social media shutdown in Ethiopia and Cameroon. Stay with us.
If you ask this pretentious mixologist what is needed to make the ultimate cocktail, she'd say, a thorough knowledge of science. Ooh, right in the face. Yes. If you asked us, we'd say it's less about science and more about, well, chemistry. Tops at Spa. Good spirits, good advice, no rocket science.
Welcome back. Now it is a SABC Network. That's on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. News network at sabc.co.za and email. Now, Ethiopia sometimes shuts down the internet or parts of it. This happens a lot in times of protest and that hurts businesses. Now, previously, internet users in Boya in Cameroon say they're now struggling to use the tool to access information, do their work and chat on social media. This is because of the internet shutdown that started on January 17. This has forced many business owners who rely on it to close shop for now.
They just banned the internet, which is the source of my livelihood. I just feel like maybe I made the wrong decision. Maybe I should just leave the country like my friends and never return again. And I personally feel bad that if that would be unpatriotic on my part, but you know, we have to do what we have to do sometimes. And now I don't even know if the internet will be returned. I don't know when it will be returned.
Firstly, I'm unable to bid for projects. I actually work in a company with the company Academic Knowledge, where the police projects you go through and you bid online. Now with this internet blackout, it's impossible for me to do it. So I have to travel to Douala each day to bid for a job. Then I'll come back, go back to Douala again the next day to check if it's been awarded. But at this particular juncture, I've actually suspended my work because I think it's too costly.
There have been protests since November in Cameroon. People in English-speaking regions have been asking for an end of French domination in their areas. About 100 people were arrested as a result, with one person killed. Some are now calling for a secession from the French-speaking parts of the country, or at least a federal system of governance. There are those who say this internet shutdown will have serious political consequences.
This act is a true violation of the rights of citizens, and unfortunately, the effect is that it radicalizes the population. You imagine that you did not participate in something, and now you are under repression for it. How does that make you feel?
It's not clear when the internet will return to English-speaking parts of Cameroon. Now, that's Cameroon, which has shut down the internet as a result of protests taking place in that country. Now, previously, we have also told you about Ethiopia, which also shut down internet access in times of protest. In the past, Ethiopian authorities have also arrested bloggers seen as critical towards the government. The most famous of these are known as the Zone 9 bloggers. Journalist Kabelo Chabalala was just there as a part of the African Union Youth Summit. He joins us in studio to tell us about his experiences with the internet in Ethiopia. Hello, and thank you for being a part of our network tonight.
Hello, Spumelele. Thank you for also welcoming me here.
Yeah, now let's start with your experiences when you arrived in Ethiopia. What actually happened with the internet? Could you access it immediately at the airport?
No, I couldn't access it at the airport. And one of the most frustrating things was this. I had to get the address and the telephone number to the hotel that I was staying in from my phone. And when I popped in there and I realized that I can't have the number, I literally had to sit down outside the airport just hoping that somehow I'll get help, because I tried to open my emails, there was no access. I tried to look for some free Wi-Fi, there was absolutely nothing. So it was quite a lot of frustrations, and realizing that I was expecting to get some free Wi-Fi from the airport, but there was nothing.
So from the lack of being able to access the internet and get the addresses and everything that you needed in order for you to make your way into the country, what did you eventually do? Did you go back to old methods of asking people around, or what happened?
I had to just ask people around. One, there was a guy who said he was here during the 2010 World Cup doing business. So his English was better. He could speak a bit of Northern Lesotho. So we had a conversation, and then I started asking him if he has a phone. He asked for, I think, about $20, and I said, no, I don't have such. And then there was a guy likely who came an hour later who offered to just look for the numbers. Then I had to go through my documents, and luckily one of the papers had the number. So I took it out, and then he called the hotel, which was also new, I think 3 or 2 weeks old. Then they said, yeah, we're actually waiting for that person, but they were sitting on the other side of the airport, which was the taxi rank. So from that point, they called and they said, no, there's actually somebody we sent with the shuttle to come fetch you. So that's what helped me. If I had no numbers written on the paper, it could have been a disaster. I was already thinking of just spending the night at the airport.
So now you've left the airport in Ethiopia where you couldn't access the internet. You've made your way to the hotel. Can you just tell us whether things became easier once you were in that space? Was the internet access in that space? Was every website available?
Google was available because I'm in a new country. I wanted to do a few check-ins, take a few selfies, post them on Facebook and Twitter, but I couldn't. I realized that I could access my emails when I got to the hotel, but as soon as I tried to go on Facebook, it was shut out. I tried my Twitter, it was also shut out. Then I realized that I'm going to have a problem for the night, and that was around 10, 11 p.m. I went to bed realizing that I couldn't even tell my family on WhatsApp that I arrived safely. So
WhatsApp was also not working?
No, it wasn't working. And that was the only way of accessing, the people here at home, to say to them, hey guys, I had a safe trip. So yeah, thanks for the prayers and everything. But I couldn't access it.
Apart from the connection at the hotel, what type of connection was it? Is it the old cable that you plug onto your computer? Was the Wi-Fi at the hotel? What type of connection was it?
I think they had a router, I think, because we could access it from the first floor and the second and the third floor. I think the radius was quite bigger because but on the third floor there was no access. So we had to go a floor down so that we could have a bit of access to the Wi-Fi. And luckily on the second day, that's when they said they'll try and improve it throughout the hotel to just get access. And the only time I could actually check in or post stuff was when I was at the AU headquarters.
So they said they were going to improve access because there was this youth summit that was taking place, and so young African leaders from all over the continent were there, and so they were going to improve it for I suppose for you guys.
I wouldn't put it that way, because at the hotel we were saying it's a bit low, it was low and we couldn't access the kind of stuff that we wanted. But I also realized that there was cheating that was going on. I was introduced to something called a VPN.
Was that happening inside the hotel itself?
Inside the hotel, okay. Yes. There were guys who said, no, whenever we are here, the regulars are getting Ethiopia.
Okay, so they don't use Ethiopian lines, they use lines from outside the country in order to access the internet.
Yeah. So that's what we did. I had to download an app called VPN and use the 7 days trial so that I could access my WhatsApp when I was at the hotel. But at the AU headquarters, everything was just free. There was no need to get a new VPN. We could access our WhatsApps, we could access Facebook and Twitter without any problems. That's why we managed to do our tweets, put updates on what the AU chair was saying and stuff. So life was easier at the AU headquarters than it was in the city and around the city.
So when a lot of people are traveling, a lot of us would check on our Google Maps, for example, if you want to know where the nearest restaurant is, if you want to know where some areas of interest are that you're looking for around the city. Were there any Wi-Fi hotspots that you could find around the city itself, outside the African Union headquarters?
No, there wasn't, because we would walk around, take just short walks just to see if there was nothing. Everything that was popping out on your phone as you search for free Wi-Fi spot, it would just be locked or blocked. So there was absolutely no access. And I asked at the hotel that do they actually offer free Wi-Fi? They said no, the government has blocked it for whatever reason, political reasons that they have. So there wasn't any access. All the access that was used by people is when they were actually bypassing the blocked processes.
Did you ever engage with some Ethiopians while you were there, and did you ever ask them what's going on with the internet in the country and why and how they felt about the unavailability of internet in most places?
Of course, the journalist in me was curious. So asking the guy at the corner, asking the security guy to ask about, even the guys at the airport to say that, why don't you have free Wi-Fi? They say, no. My friend, as they would say that we have internet issues here. Our government has problems with us posting things. And I said, why? They said they are afraid of us spreading, news that might actually cost the country, I don't know, political or economical. But those are the stuff that they were saying. They said it's unfortunate because even simple things like WhatsApp, where you chat with friends and family, is also blocked.
All right, thank you very much for joining us and giving us insights about your experiences as a traveler into Ethiopia coming from South Africa. Thank you for being a part of the network. Now, that is a journalist, Kabelo Chabalala, joining us there. Now, this week, we caught up with Nigerian singer Shay Shay. She told us what her favorite piece of technology is.
Take a perfect picture, I'll be in it with you. Smile into the lens, cause the flash will make it look okay. Okay.
Shay, all the way from Lagos, Nigeria, and my favorite piece of technology has to be my phone. Why? Because it has everything on it. Everything. My friends, my family, my work, my day-to-day activities, everything. My camera. So, my music. Yeah, definitely my phone.
It's just a front. Cause when there are no cameras, no one's around us, who's gonna touch us?
Now, a startup in Cameroon has created an app that monitors traffic in that country. Let's take a look.
We're trying to provide a rapid response when an accident occurs, and we're trying to provide information concerning buses all over the national territory in an office. So we're saying that you can sit in an office and have information concerning a bus. I mean, you can just walk around and you get a notification about a certain car, be it high speed or an accident automatically. If your bus is driving at above 60 kilometers per hour, our application will notify you that, hello driver, because there's a driver platform, so they can use the same application to control drivers by transport agencies. So the application will pop up a message that, look, this speed, you cannot bend a corner at this speed, it is dangerous. The first thing is the absence of the infrastructure. When we started, we were hoping that by September 2016, we would have integrated the contact information of all hospitals. But because the government is not supportive enough, we've not been able to get this contact, so we have to move from one hospital to another all over the national territory. You know what that means for a startup? I mean, we basically struggling to survive, and you expect us to pay transport fare to go to Yaoundé, seek authorization, go to the hospital, request if they can give us their number so that we can notify them if there's an emergency. There's also the problem of internet connectivity. When we made the application, it was supposed to be 100% real time. When we launched, we realized there's so many parts of Cameroon that never had internet. So we had to rework it to make it work as a black box if there's no internet.
Let's see what some people are sharing on social media. In South Africa, many were going with the hashtag of replacing a movie title with the word Shaka. Some went with Shaka Zulu, but many went with Shaka Sisulu as they had fun with the hashtag. In Ghana, as it was in much of Africa, Senegal was trending. This is because of the African Cup of Nations quarterfinal match against Cameroon, which Senegal lost on penalties. The hashtag Muslim ban has been trending in Kenya and in other parts of the world. This is after American President Donald Trump banned citizens from a few countries from entering. These are predominantly Muslim countries. And this week, our social media poll is asking whether you would survive without internet access. Now, 55% says no, and that is followed by 14% or rather 24% who say yes. There is 14% that says it's expensive, and there's a small number of 7% that says they are often without internet access. Now, that's all we have for you. Find us on SABC Network. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. News Network at sabc.co.za on email. We leave you with the reveal of new spacesuits from me, Siphumelele Zondi, and the rest of the network team.